Hello sir, I'm Urmila Aparao and this is my lab partner Haziq. Will be presenting our lab 2 today. Okay, we have cabled the equipment as shown in the topology diagram given, and then we have configured the devices to match the addressing table that has been given also. And then once the configuration has been saved, we then verify the configuration by testing for the network connectivity. So here is what I've connected using the topology given. And then as for the part 2, we are configuring the devices and also for the verify connectivity. So then as a first step in part 2, we are going to check the PC setting. So here I'm clicking on PCA. Here I filled up with the IP address given, and I can check my PCA setting by IP configuration, and here is my PCA setting. I can find out my IP address, I can find out my subnet mask, I can find out my default gateway details, and so on. Same goes with the PCB. I filled up the IP address given, and then I can check my PCB's setting as IP configuration. So we actually use the IP address to enable the communication between the devices, and we actually use the IP configuration to verify the PC setting or else the device setting. Okay, and then ping PCB from command prompt window on PCA. Okay, now we can click on the PCA, we can go to the command prompt, and then here is the here I've pinged the PCB's PCB's IP address. So from here I can find out that it's 100% lost, which means this type is unsuccessful. Okay, so now here I've explained it why the ping is not successful. This is because the gateway between the router and the PCB has not been configured yet. Okay, so when we are configuring one by one, then only we can see the arrow is getting green. Before that, in previously it will be in red color. So when we are configuring here, and the rest devices will not be configured yet. So that's the reason it's not successful yet. Okay, now moving forward, second step, configuring the switch. So click S1 and then select the CLI tab. Okay, now I'm clicking my I'm going to configure my switch 1, and then I'm clicking the switch. I'm going to my CLI tab, and this is my CLI tab. Okay, now as for the first step, okay, we are gonna enable the privileged exec mode. Okay, so now I've typed as enabled, and once we have see the hashtag here, it means that it indicates the privileged exec mode is activated. And then we can see the configure the terminal. It means the configuration mode is activated, and then it asks to give a name to the switch. So we have named it as hostname S1, and then as for the no IP domain lookup, we actually did this so that we can prevent the unwanted DNS lookups, and this is also to prevent the switch from attempting to translate incorrectly entered commands as though they were host names, so that we disable the DNS lookups. Okay, and as for the banner MOTD hashtag, without the hashtag we need to give a space between the hashtag. So here for the banner MOTD, it is to warn anyone that accessing the switch that unauthorized access will not be tolerated. Okay, and then here we have mentioned that only lab group execs can access the device. Actually we can rename this XX as anything as we want, but I don't know what is my group number, so thus to not make it as complicated, I left it as XS. Okay, but actually we can use it anything as we want. Okay, then moving forward to the entering local passwords. So we are actually assigning the Cisco as the console password and also the enable login, and then we are going to the VTI password login and exit. All this is to we assign the Cisco as VTI password and enable the login for that, and then we actually do this VTI thing to allow the telnet access. If we don't configure a VTI password, then we can't able to telnet to switch. Okay, that's why we are doing this VTI thing. And then for the interface, okay, then for the interface VLAN, it is now we can enter the configuration mode to set the SVI IP address to allow the remote switch to a management. Okay, now as for the thing, all these are settled. Now we are moving to the next step. We are exiting that mode and now we are entering to the clock set. Okay, for the clock set we are configuring the clock set. So for the show clock, we actually can see whether the clock is updated or not. Okay, up to here I've done. Okay, now ping the SVI management address of S1 from a command prompt window on PCA. Okay, here I've done that. Let me show you. Okay, this is the step that have been mentioned. Thus we can see it is mentioned as 25% loss as what has been mentioned here. Okay, it is just as I've got. So I've attached my proof here. Okay, as for 3, test and verify the remote off management of S1. Open the desktop of PCA, select the command prompt icon, and then we need to enter as telnet this thing, and then okay, we will be needed to enter the password and so on. Okay, here it is. I've entered the telnet and also the IP address of S1, and then okay, when I entered the telnet thing, it shows me as only lab group XX can access this device. Okay, now when it asks for the password, our first password is Cisco, as what has been mentioned here. It's Cisco, and then it will show as enable. It will show as enable, and then our second password is class, and once we have done that, it will show that we need to enter as copy running configuration startup config. Okay, so as what I've said previously, copy command is to save the device configuration. So we need to exit this mode. So once we wish to exit this mode, we can see as connection to this S1's IP address closed by foreign host. Okay, so that's up to here. Okay, now once we exit, now we can see why must you use a console connection to initially configure the switch. Why not connect to the switch via telnet or SSH? Okay, this is because first we need to configure the VTI line for the switch to give way for the telnet access. From there we can configure the switch so that the SVI IP address has the access to remote the switch. Okay, that's is up to step 3, and then step 4 my partner will explain step 4 and also part 3. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hazib bin Muhammad Zaki. First of all, sorry if my voice is not clear enough because asthma. Okay, I will continue. Mana bila berhenti. Okay, at step 4, configure the router. For configuring the router, we just follow the step from A to M. Okay, at the end, it tells us to ping. Okay, and we successfully to ping. At part 3, display bus information. At step 1, it tells to show version. Okay, at R1, first of all, the first question asks for iOS image. This is the iOS image flash, blah 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 blah. Okay, for the DRAM, 64 kilobyte is over here. Okay, 64 kilobyte for the DRAM. Okay, for the NVRAM, non-volatile, is 255k byte, and the flash memory router use is 249856. Okay, next we go to the show version for S1. Okay, S1 ask for flash. Okay, S1 flash. S1 is flash C2960. Okay, and next DRAM. Okay, DRAM, it is 65536k, and for the NVRAM 64k, which is Yeah, okay, 64, okay. Non-volatile. And for the model, it is below here, the model. Okay, IP root for S1. IP root, show IP root. Okay, this is the IP root and it's asked for code for connected network, which is this one, C, connected. Okay, how many root entries are coded with C code in routing table? It is 2. And for the interface type associated to the C coded routes is Gigabit Ethernet 00 and Gigabit Ethernet 01. For step 3, display information on the router, show interface G01. Okay, show interface G01. First of all, it is connected and the media access it is over here 0001 and the internet address is over here, internet address 192. Okay, next it is step 4. This is the step 4, show IP interface brief. After that is show IP interface brief at S1. Okay, this is our result for S1 and R1. All of this. Okay, for the reflection, if the G0 interface show immediately down, what interface configuration command would you use to turn the interface up? It is R1 config if hashtag no check. Okay, for the second question, the answer is PCA would not be able to ping PCB. This is because PCB is on different network than PCA. Thus, PCA would not get any reply from PCB. Okay, this is the result from running configuration from R1. And next is running configuration for S1. Okay, that's all from me.